So thank you for the introduction. And my name is Qing Lang. I come from the Department of Linguistics at the University of Hong Kong, but I'm currently on exchange to the Peking University at the Center for MR Research. And this work was collaborating with the PKU team. And so today my talk is about the cross-task evidence for language recruiting and episodic buffer located in the visual word form area. My work is concerning the working memory and the spoken language and written language comprehension and production. And basically, actually, it's 4 tasks: listen, speak, read, and write. And I will talk about the background, hypothesis predictions, and the results discussions. And at last, I will give you some conclusions based on my own opinions, actually. Okay, before I started, I would like you to come up with a word to describe this in your mind. What is this? You may have spaghetti. And for our Italian friends, it could be bolognese, and it's Idali mian in Chinese, and you can have it in other different languages, in Japanese, Korean, and but actually, you secretly know it's more than just a word, right? You can feel the feel and smell the smell and taste the taste, and even you can remember like what was happening when you were eating the spaghetti last time. So actually, this example gives you a fact that when you're thinking about a word like spaghetti, you're actually experiencing a unitary whole combining a lot of different informations as a coherent unit, as a coherent representation. It has a lot of information inside it. It could be visual, auditory, smell, taste, semantic, tactile, etc. And this actually leads to the binding problem, which refers to the fact that we often perceive an object or event as a coherent whole, while the separate elements are coming from different channels, leading to modality-specific codes, and such as like listening to a speech sound or seeing a character. And this binding problem actually indicates that multimodal representations or information must converge at some point and to be chunked together so you can consciously manipulate it and use it. Therefore, during language processing, because language masters and integrates information from diverse perceptual and mnemonic resources, including all of this, but not all of, but more than that actually. So inevitably, I suppose that language should request a multimodal interface where all the different types of information can meet together and to be further processed toward your intended representations in your mind. Okay, so by definition, the maintenance and manipulation of such multidimensional language-related materials are theoretically to be conducted with the episodic buffer system, and very important subsystem within the working memory. However, despite its significance, actually we know so little about it. We have no idea how its neurosignatures are like. By neurosignatures, I mean like its anatomical locations and its connectivity patterns. Therefore, our study aims to uncover that the neurosignatures underpinning the episodic buffer and its putative role in language processing. I have to say that it's really hard to understand the buffer, but mainly because it's just difficult to identify a specific buffer, specific deficits, and I think it should be also blamed to the focus of the neuroimaging research over the past decades, because we were basically focusing on simple anatomical localizations. However, our cognition systems are so complex. It usually involves multiple components interacting together, so the connectivity pattern is really important for us to understand how different brain regions are working together to support such complex functions. We generated testable hypotheses and predictions based on the buffer's core function and its relation to other subsystems within the working memory framework. In this study, we are focusing on the central executive. So, in terms of its core function, the buffer is at the core a multimodal interface for binding information, and we have 3 hypotheses based on this core function. The first one is we think the buffer should be shared across different modalities of language tasks, which means which leads to the prediction that it should be located within the cross-task co-activated areas. And hypothesis 2, it should be a passive storage system, which leads to the prediction that the buffer system should be mainly information receivers that barely output. And hypothesis 3, the buffer should hold and integrate a variety of information from multiple sources. And from this one, we predict that these buffer system areas should also be integrative hubs equipping with the most efficient way to other sites among your brain. On the other side, we have the last hypothesis. It's based on the relation to the central executive of working memory. The central executive, you can think it of as the commander of your working memory. And the fourth hypothesis was the episodic buffer system is subject to strong modulation from the central executive system, which leads to the prediction that the episodic buffer system mainly receives information from the central executive. Sorry. Is it working? Okay. So to evaluate our hypotheses and predictions, we conducted an fMRI study with 100 right-handed Chinese speakers. And we have 4 sessions spanning over listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And for each session, we have 2 types of tasks. The first role is the task, the target task, and the second role is the baseline. So, for example, in the listening session, we have the participants will be presented with intelligible stimuli like 绵羊, it means sheep, and he or she has to decide whether it's a living creature or not. And the baseline was they will listen to a time-reversed stimuli and decide whether the speaker was a female or a male. And for further details, please come to our poster and we can talk about it. And I will move on. Okay, we actually evaluate all the predictions one by one, and we make a strong assumption that if and only if an area that meets all the hypothetic patterns can be considered as an episodic buffer. So for the prediction one, whether the buffer system can be identified among the co-activations across 4 tasks, I think the answer is yes, because we conducted conjunction analysis to identify an overlap across 4 tasks, and the overlap was located in the left ventral occipitotemporal area, in abbreviation, the VOTM. I think this area really makes a lot of sense because in Hickok and Poyper's dual stream model, it's the lexical interface, and it is the famous visual word form area. We compare the coordinates and the definition, and we are convinced that this overlap does belong to this famous area. And if you have heard about the neuronal recycling hypothesis, I think both the lexical interface and the visual word form area does have the function that it has to integrate a lot of information from multiple sources. Okay, the prediction 2, whether the episodic buffer system are primarily information receivers that barely output. We conducted granular causality analysis to investigate the causal interactions between different ROIs for each task. And as you can see, this overlap, did receive information from multiple sources. But this is not enough. I know it. I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. So further, we calculated the difference between the sums of GC values flow into and out of each ROI to measure the information net flow, i.e. the in-out degree. So we found that, our results found that the left VOTM did have significantly high in degree across all tasks. As you can see in the, okay, this is really hard to use. Yeah, so this indicates that this area plays a critical role in holding information. I swear I'm really pushing it with all my strength. This one? Okay, great. Sorry. Okay, for the prediction 3, the episodic buffer region should be integrity hubs, and we conducted graph analysis among all the 200-something nodes, covering the whole brain. And our hub analysis revealed that this area was really part of the regions that have the strongest functional connectivity, which indicates it's highly possible to act as an integrative hub. Okay, so the last one is the buffer system mainly receives information from the central executive system, whether it's true or false. And by the way, we actually group all the ROIs we use in the GC analysis into the seven network cortical parcellation based on Yale and his colleagues, Atlas. So as you can see, all the route nodes are the areas that directly interacting with the LVOTM, and the yellow ones are nodes from the parallel control network. So I do know there is a difference between the central executive system and the frontal parallel control network, but here I think it's very possible that this area is mainly interacting with the central executive as we propose. In conclusion, the left VOTM is a critical language-related node within the episodic buffer system because it displays patterns as we predicted, and these findings initially ground the theoretical episodic buffer in neurophysiological reality, and we believe this will benefit to resolving the famous VWFA debate. So thank you for your time and attention, and thank you, Dr. Jia Honggao and the PKU team. Without you, none of this could be done. Thank you, and I will be at my poster.